My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to talk about a very important lesson that we often overlook in our lives. The lesson of patience, acceptance, and trusting Allah's wisdom when He removes people from our lives. Many of us face moments when someone we care about, a friend, a family member, or even a situation we hold dear, suddenly leaves our life. Sometimes it's through death, other times it's through circumstances, or perhaps they choose to go their own way. At those moments, our hearts feel heavy and our minds are filled with questions. We wonder, why? Why did Allah take them away? What did I do wrong? But my dear brothers and sisters, I want to remind you of a beautiful principle in Islam. When Allah removes them, let them go. Because everything happens by His divine decree and everything is under His perfect wisdom. You see, Allah in His infinite wisdom knows what is best for us. Sometimes He removes people from our lives because they are no longer beneficial for our spiritual growth. They may have been a test, a distraction, or even a cause of harm. And just as a gardener prunes a tree to make it healthier and more fruitful, Allah removes certain people or situations so that we can grow closer to Him. It's not always easy to accept. The human heart is naturally attached. But true faith is trusting in Allah's plan, especially when it's unseen. Remember the words of Allah in the Quran, and it may be that you dislike something which is good for you, and that you like something which is bad for you. Allah knows, and you do not. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:16. So when Allah removes someone from your life, instead of holding on desperately, instead of questioning His wisdom, say, "Oh Allah, I trust your plan. Whatever you take, you replace with something better. Whatever you remove, it's for my benefit in ways I cannot see," and let go with humility and patience. Because holding on tightly to what Allah has chosen to remove only causes pain and suffering. Let them go with a heart full of gratitude for the time shared, and with hope in Allah's mercy that what comes after is better. Remember, Allah's mercy is greater than any loss. He is Ar-Rahim, the most merciful. And His plans are always better than our own. So have faith, be patient, and trust that Allah's wisdom is perfect. My dear brothers and sisters, in every loss there is a lesson. In every departure there is a divine reason. When Allah removes them, let them go. And trust that Allah's plan is unfolding exactly as it should be. Trust in Allah's wisdom. When Allah removes someone from your life, believe that it is part of His divine plan for your betterment, even if it's not immediately apparent. Trusting in Allah's wisdom is one of the fundamental principles of faith in Islam. It is based on the belief that Allah, in His infinite knowledge and perfect justice, knows what is best for His creation at all times. When we face the loss of someone dear to us, whether through death, separation, or circumstances beyond our control, our human instinct may be to question, protest, or feel overwhelmed by grief. However, true faith calls us to surrender our understanding to Allah's wisdom and to accept that His decisions are always for our ultimate good, even if we cannot see the reasons in the moment. Allah's wisdom is vast and beyond human comprehension. In the Quran, Allah reminds us that we do not have full knowledge of what is best for us, and that His plans are designed with mercy and compassion. The verse, "And it may be that you dislike something which is good for you, and that you like something which is bad for you, Allah knows, and you do not," Surah Al-Baqarah 2:21-6, encapsulates this truth. It teaches us that our preferences and perceptions are limited. What appears to us as a loss or hardship may, in reality, be a blessing from Allah that we cannot see yet. Trusting in Allah's wisdom requires humility and a recognition of our limited knowledge. When someone we love is taken away from us, we are naturally inclined to feel sadness, anger, or frustration. These feelings are human and understandable, but the believer is encouraged to channel these emotions into patience and trust. Instead of questioning Allah's wisdom or doubting His plans, we should remember that Allah is the most knowing, the all-wise, and the most merciful. He knows what is hidden from us, the unseen benefits, the lessons, and the divine reasons behind every event. Our limited perspective cannot grasp the entire picture, but Allah's perspective encompasses everything with perfect clarity. Trust in Allah's wisdom is also rooted in Tawakkul, which is reliance upon Allah. It is a conscious act of placing our complete trust in His plans and His timing. When we truly trust Allah, we understand that whatever He decrees is ultimately for our benefit, even if we do not understand it at the time. This trust is not passive resignation, but a heartfelt conviction that Allah's knowledge surpasses ours, and that His mercy is greater than our suffering. It involves turning to Allah in dua, seeking patience, and reminding ourselves that Allah's plan is always better than our own. One of the ways to strengthen this trust is to reflect on the stories of the prophets and righteous people in Islam. For example, the story of Prophet Ayub. Job shows a man who faced immense suffering, losing his health, wealth, and children, yet remained patient and trusting in Allah. His story teaches us that patience and reliance on Allah's wisdom will ultimately bring relief and reward. Similarly, the story of Prophet Abraham, who was tested with the command to sacrifice his son, illustrates complete submission and unwavering trust in Allah's wisdom, even when the reasons are not immediately clear. Furthermore, trusting in Allah's wisdom involves surrendering our attachment to worldly possessions, relationships, and outcomes. It means recognizing that Allah's decree is always just and merciful, and that what He allows to happen is for our ultimate good, even if it causes temporary hardship. Whenever we face a loss, instead of falling into despair or blaming fate, we should remind ourselves that Allah's mercy encompasses everything. He is the most compassionate, and His plans are woven with love and mercy that we may not see in the moment. Practicing this trust also entails patience and perseverance. It is natural to feel sadness or grief, but the believer is encouraged to turn to dua, supplication, and remembrance of Allah's names, especially Al-Hakim, the All-Wise, and Ar-Rahim, the Merciful. Through these acts of worship and reflection, our hearts find reassurance, and our trust in Allah's wisdom is fortified. In conclusion, trusting in Allah's wisdom is a vital aspect of faith that helps us navigate the hardships of life with patience and serenity. When faced with loss or difficulties, we are reminded to surrender our limited understanding and accept that Allah, in His infinite knowledge, is always acting in our best interest. Every event, every hardship, and every removal is part of a divine plan that is filled with mercy, wisdom, and love. Our role is to trust, be patient, and believe that Allah's decisions are always for our ultimate good. When we do this, we align ourselves with the beautiful teachings of Islam and find peace in our hearts, knowing that Allah's plan is perfect and that His wisdom is beyond human comprehension. Let go with patience and gratitude. Accept the loss with patience, trust, and gratitude, understanding that everything happens by Allah's decree and for a reason. Letting go of someone or something through patience and gratitude is a profound act of faith and trust in Allah's divine plan. When we face loss, whether it is the departure of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or any form of hardship, our natural response may be to cling to what we have lost, to resist the reality of change, or to feel overwhelmed by grief and pain. However, true believers are encouraged to adopt an attitude of patience, sabr, and gratitude, shukr, as a means of transforming their suffering into a spiritual act that draws them closer to Allah. This approach not only eases the pain of loss, but also elevates the soul and strengthens one's faith. Patience is a virtue highly praised in Islam. It is not merely enduring hardships passively, but actively trusting that Allah's wisdom is behind every trial. Patience involves a conscious effort to accept what has happened without despair or complaint, recognizing that everything occurs by Allah's decree. It is about maintaining composure, controlling one's emotions, and refraining from impulsive reactions when faced with adversity. Patience is also rooted in the belief that Allah's mercy is vast, and that hardship is often a means to purify the soul, elevate one's status, or prepare us for something better in the future. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes that patience is an essential trait of the righteous, and it is closely linked with faith and reliance on Allah. When we practice patience, we acknowledge that we do not have control over everything, but Allah does. This acknowledgement helps us to relinquish our grip on worldly attachments, which often cause us suffering when they are taken away. Instead of resisting or fighting what has happened, we accept it as part of Allah's divine plan, trusting that what is best for us is happening, even if we cannot see it at the moment. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, exemplified this attitude throughout his life, enduring many hardships with patience and perseverance. His example teaches us that patience is a means of spiritual growth and a way to earn Allah's pleasure. Alongside patience, gratitude, shukr, plays a vital role in the process of letting go. Gratitude involves recognizing and appreciating the countless blessings that Allah has bestowed upon us, even in times of hardship. When we are grateful, our hearts shift from focusing on what we have lost to acknowledging what we still possess: faith, health, guidance, and countless blessings that many others may lack. Gratitude helps us to develop contentment, qana'ah, and to see the silver lining even in difficult circumstances. It is a means of purifying the heart and fostering a positive attitude that can turn hardship into a source of spiritual elevation. Expressing gratitude during times of loss requires conscious effort. It involves thanking Allah for His mercy, His wisdom, and the opportunities He has provided. It also means trusting that what we have lost was ultimately in our best interest, according to Allah's plan. The Quran encourages believers to be grateful in all circumstances, and whatever blessings and good things you have, it is from Allah. Surah An-Nahl 16:53. By cultivating gratitude, we acknowledge that everything is from Allah and that He is the most generous. Even when we are experiencing pain or difficulty, the combination of patience and gratitude creates a powerful spiritual state that transforms suffering into a means of earning Allah's pleasure. When we accept what has happened with patience and thank Allah for His countless blessings despite the hardship, we elevate our hearts and minds. This attitude allows us to find peace amidst chaos and to see trials as opportunities to strengthen our reliance on Allah. It also helps us to avoid falling into despair, bitterness, or resentment, which can lead to spiritual stagnation or even despair of Allah's mercy. Practicing patience and gratitude is also a way to purify the heart and develop resilience. It teaches us humility, reminding us that we are not in control and that Allah's wisdom surpasses our understanding. It encourages us to trust that Allah's mercy is vast and that every hardship is temporary and has a purpose. This mindset fosters hope and optimism even in the darkest moments, because it is rooted in faith that Allah's plan is ultimately good and beneficial for us. In practical terms, cultivating patience and gratitude involves regular remembrance of Allah, dua, and reflection on His attributes. It is about turning to Allah in supplication, asking for strength and patience, and thanking Him for His mercy and blessings. It also involves consciously shifting our perspective from what we have lost to what we still have and to what Allah has given us. Gratitude can be expressed through daily prayers, dhikr, and acts of charity, which serve to remind ourselves of Allah's countless favors. In conclusion, letting go through patience and gratitude is a profound act of submission and trust in Allah. It transforms suffering into a spiritual journey that deepens faith and brings inner peace. Patience helps us to endure hardships with dignity and perseverance, trusting that Allah's wisdom guides everything. Gratitude, on the other hand, shifts our focus from what is lost to what remains, fostering contentment and reliance on Allah's mercy. Together, patience and gratitude empower us to accept life's ups and downs with grace, knowing that every trial is an opportunity for growth and that Allah's mercy is always near. By embodying these qualities, we can find peace amidst chaos and turn hardships into a means of drawing closer to Allah and earning His eternal pleasure. Divine wisdom and betterment, Allah's removal of certain people or situations, is often for our spiritual growth and protection, making space for what is ultimately better for us in His mercy. Seeking comfort through prayer and reflection is a vital aspect of coping with loss and hardship in Islam. When faced with the pain of losing someone dear or experiencing any form of suffering, turning to Allah through heartfelt supplication and sincere reflection can provide immense solace and strength. Prayer or dua is not just a ritual, it is a direct line of communication between the believer and Allah, a means to pour out one's heart, seek guidance, and find reassurance. Reflection, on the other hand, involves contemplating the divine attributes of Allah, understanding His wisdom, and pondering the transient nature of worldly life. Together, these acts serve as powerful tools to heal the heart, deepen faith, and cultivate patience. When grief overwhelms the heart, turning to prayer allows the believer to express their feelings honestly and seek comfort from the most merciful. Dua is a form of worship that embodies humility, reliance, and trust in Allah's mercy. It is a way to acknowledge one's vulnerability and ask for strength, patience, and relief from suffering. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasized the importance of dua, encouraging believers to turn to Allah in every circumstance. The Quran also highlights that Allah is near and responds to the supplication of those who call upon Him sincerely. And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the supplication of the supplicant when he calls upon me. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:18-6. This divine promise assures believers that their heartfelt prayers will be heard and answered, often in ways that benefit them most, even if not immediately apparent. Praying during times of hardship is about more than just asking for relief. It is about establishing a connection with Allah that provides peace and reassurance. It is a moment to seek divine guidance, patience, and resilience. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught specific supplications for times of distress, such as saying, "O Allah, Lord of mankind, remove the hardship and heal, for you are the healer. There is no healing except your healing, a healing that leaves no disease." Such supplications remind us of Allah's power and mercy and help us to feel supported and comforted in our vulnerability. The act of prayer becomes a source of spiritual sustenance, reminding us that we are not alone in our suffering and that Allah's mercy is greater than any pain. Reflection, or contemplating Allah's attributes and the nature of life, complements prayer by fostering a deeper understanding and trust in divine wisdom. When we take time to ponder the greatness of Allah, His mercy, patience, justice, and omnipotence, we realize that our hardships are part of a divine plan that ultimately aims to elevate our souls. Reflection also involves contemplating the transient nature of worldly possessions and life itself, which helps us to detach from material attachments and focus on eternal realities. This perspective reassures us that everything in this world is temporary and that true peace and permanence lie in our relationship with Allah. Reflecting on the stories of the prophets and righteous people can serve as a source of inspiration and comfort. Their struggles, patience, and unwavering trust in Allah demonstrate that hardship is a test and that divine wisdom ultimately guides everything for the best. For example, Prophet Ayub, Job, endured extreme suffering with patience and trust in Allah's mercy, and his story reminds believers that patience and reflection can lead to divine relief. Likewise, Prophet Abraham, exemplified submission to Allah's will, even when faced with difficult commands, showing us the importance of trusting divine wisdom and seeking solace in Allah's remembrance. Practicing reflection also involves reading and contemplating the Quran, which is a source of guidance, comfort, and healing. The Quran contains verses that speak directly to the heart, offering reassurance during times of grief. Verses like say, "In the bounty of Allah and in His mercy, in that let them rejoice, it is better than what they accumulate." Surah Yunus 10:58 remind us of Allah's mercy and encourage us to find joy and patience in His divine decree. Regular recitation and reflection on these verses can uplift the heart, renew faith, and provide peace amid turmoil. Moreover, seeking comfort through reflection involves developing a mindset that recognizes Allah's wisdom behind every event. It is about trusting that everything happens for a reason, even if that reason is hidden from us. This trust is rooted in the belief that Allah's knowledge is perfect and that He is the most wise. Reflection helps to cultivate patience and acceptance, preventing feelings of despair or resentment. It encourages believers to see hardships as opportunities for growth, purification, and a chance to earn Allah's pleasure. Incorporating regular prayer and reflection into daily life requires conscious effort. Setting aside moments for dua, especially during quiet times like dawn or before sleeping, can help build a habit of turning to Allah in both times of ease and difficulty. Engaging in dhikr, remembrance of Allah, and reading the Quran during these moments reinforces reliance on divine guidance and brings tranquility to the heart. Reflection can also be practiced through journaling, contemplating divine attributes, or pondering the lessons embedded in life's trials. In conclusion, seeking comfort through prayer and reflection is a timeless and powerful means of coping with loss and hardship. Prayer provides a direct channel to express our fears, hopes, and gratitude, reinforcing our reliance on Allah and reminding us of His mercy. Reflection deepens our understanding of divine wisdom, helping us to accept life's challenges with patience and trust. Together, these acts serve to soothe the heart, elevate the soul, and strengthen our faith in Allah's mercy and plan. They transform suffering into a spiritual journey that brings us closer to Allah, filling our hearts with peace, hope, and resilience. Through consistent prayer and reflection, believers find the inner strength to endure hardships, knowing that Allah's mercy is vast and that every moment of pain can be an opportunity for spiritual growth and closeness to the Most Merciful. May Allah grant us patience, acceptance, and unwavering trust in His divine wisdom. Ameen.